Hi guys, so here I am in the workshop and I'm just going to run through a simple measuring, marking and cutting exercise making a kitchen utensil pot. So these are the measurements and everything that is needed for marking out the thicknesses, and then we're going to divide them up into 3 centimeter blocks and then label them with masking tape, so we know which bit goes where when we're cutting, so when we fix it together, it all makes sense. These are some examples that I made for the students to look at. So marking these out is pretty simple. What you want to do first of all though, is just take off any rough edges with a piece of sandpaper. We're going to mark out our boards and we're going to use a steel rule and a tri-square. Remember to line your boards up so they're in the correct order that they're going to go together to make your box. So when you do your finger joints like this, that they fit together in the right place. So front, side, back, side, and then underneath we'll just glue a thin piece of board. When you cut them and fit them together, that they fit, what I suggest you do is you put a piece of masking tape on each one and you letter them or number them so they correspond to the one next to it, so you know where you're working. So I would say A, B, B, C, C, D, and then this one's D over here. So you use your fingers against the edge and then you just draw your lines . With your steel rule, you need to mark out divisions of 3 centimeters. Tri-square, place it up against the edge and mark both sides at the same time. And then what you need to do is you're going to mark the waste piece of wood that you want to remove. So you've marked out the waste piece of wood that you want to remove, and being a finger joint you need to cut the opposite bit so it's like a zigzag. So if you're doing it and you make a mistake, then just use a rubber and rub out the bits that you don't want. So remember they're going to be opposite. Okay, so we're now going to cut this on the fret saw. So we'll cut just inside the line and then we will use a file just to make them fit perfectly. Having cut these, now we need to fit them together. So arrange them. So you're just going to take a little look by eye, see where they fit and where they don't fit. So if you line them up, you can see any pencil marks that you haven't cut perfectly to. Just carefully file away to the line. Just keep checking where you need to remove and where you need to leave. Remember to work on both pieces of material. You want it to be a fairly tight fit, but not so tight that it breaks. So you want them to fit together as tightly as possible. Any little gaps we can try and fill up later. So you're just going to work your way around the next one, so you can see now why you've labelled them, so you know where things are going to go. So you just work your way around and do each one. Same process. Everything's been filed, and now we're just going to rub out any lines that we don't need. Easier to rub them out than try and sand them off. So this is the order it's going to go in. This is the inside, this is the outside. We're going to glue the bits that touch. So all the bits that stick out, we're going to glue. Then it is a matter of quickly putting it together. Any glue that comes out, try and take off. So the tighter this fits together, the better it's going to be. Use a wet paper towel to remove any glue. The whole thing's going to be held together with masking tape. So we're going to use masking tape, and we're going to pull the box together with it. Wipe off any glue before it dries. And then we're going to glue the base on. Again, we're going to just glue it and tape it. So now we need to leave this for 24 hours or tomorrow when it is dry. Remove the tape and then we can cut everything and sand it and remove this bit. So this is now dried and I am ready to cut off the bits that stick out and cut an angle on here. One thing I forgot to tell you is if you want to cut any letters in or cut the shapes on the side, you need to do that before you glue it together, otherwise you cannot get the blade through easily. So do it all and then glue it together. Okay, we're going to go to the saw and cut. Everything's been cut and now you can remove all your masking tape. Then you're going to erase anything that's left. With your orbital sander, you can go over all the edges. You need to be careful in places because the top layer of the plywood is quite thin, and unless you want to show the other layers, you'll remove it too much. So I'm just going to, some of these bits are broken, so I'm just going to reshape the top edge and then resand it. I'm sanding on the inside edge. So now you've finished your utensil pot, you can decide what you want to do with it. You can paint it or you can leave it just like this and just varnish it. If you're going to paint it, I would recommend that you do a base layer of white to seal the wood and then go over the top. And you can sand with fine sandpaper in between your coats, let them dry, sand them, and then do a final varnish over the top. You could, however, like this one, just put a varnish on and seal the wood with a varnish. Maybe put 2 or 3 coats on, sanding in between. I hope that this was useful. It's a very simple measuring and marking and cutting exercise. So it's all about accuracy in measuring and marking and cutting, and then some finishing techniques for making your finished product look nice.